Welcome back. Thanks to drug shortages, hospitals often jump through hoops to obtain the necessary treatments for patients.
Madeline O'Neill tells us about an effort to make these everyday drugs more accessible.
Well, prescription drug shortages are more common than we might think as patients. The most recent one making headlines is a dwindling supply of a drug used to treat pediatric cancer patients. Now, that drug isn't a problem at SSM Health St. Mary's yet, but there are a number of other necessary drugs that are often in short supply.
It kind of becomes a scramble because you want to make sure that you can get that product for those patients, whatever's needed. So
Filling a prescription for a hospital patient is more difficult when the drug just isn't there.
So imagine a child with a certain kind of cancer that has to have this treatment, and when it's not available, it will create a big problem.
but behind the scenes, we're doing a lot of work to make sure that we secure that product for our patient.
That's why it takes a new way of doing things to fill the need. SSM Health in Madison is receiving one of its first shipments from a nonprofit drug manufacturer called Civica RX, developed last year by health systems including SSM.
And that by itself is huge because no other drug company ever claimed to be out there on a not-for-profit basis with only one mission of making essential drug products available and affordable across the country.
Civica RX focuses on manufacturing essential generic drugs that are often in short supply and selling them at cost. Its first being vancomycin, an antibiotic.
It's an injectable antibiotic used for a number of infections, some of which are life-threatening infections.
SSM Vice President of Pharmacy Services, Mo Carbat, says shortages of necessary drugs can be caused by a lack of a certain active ingredient or a manufacturer's decision.
That's what actually results in the shortage sometimes, is when drug companies stop making a drug because it doesn't make enough money for them.
Health providers are often able to locate alternatives, even if they're more costly, so patients don't notice a difference in care. But reliable shipments of drugs like vancomycin from Civica RX fill the void when shortages arise.
So what we're hoping from Civica is that they'll really just make sure that we have product on the shelves at all times and that we don't get to a point where it could potentially affect a patient.
Civica RX is in its early stages and plans to roll out up to 20 more generic drugs that are often in short supply by the end of the year.